don't give a fuck. Whatever the fuck make the people laugh, say that shit. He said, do the people laugh when you say what you say? I said, yes. He said, do you get paid? I said, yes. He said, well, tell Bill I said have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the edge of civility.
You're listening to The Mean Geek, episode 180.
Alright, so despite the grief, I suppose we should get going on episode 180.
Oh wait, have we been taping?
No. We are now recording.
I murder you.
I gave that up because you got mad about it. Kids, this is the Tech Jedi.
And this is your almost co-host. Ha! You like that? I stole your line, bitch ass.
Before I could get to it, it happens. Give us a couple of minutes. We're not going to talk comics just yet. We had a horrible tragedy, and I know my voice and my tone doesn't really convey that, but it's true.
It is shockingly emotional.
It is. It's almost fucking me up as much as when Neil Armstrong died.
For very different reasons.
For incredibly different reasons, but I don't generally follow the cult of personality.
Yeah.
But there
Armstrong
are some
was more
people,
iconic, though.
Yeah.
This is more personal.
Right. Very good point. Just to remind you, because I'm sure you must have figured it out by now, Robin Williams passed an apparent suicide yesterday.
And the circumstances do not matter to the degree that man was awesome.
Exactly right. So here's some whiskey for you, baby. A little salute.
Been a while since we did that.
And there we are. So, having started off on a grim note,
Well, before we move on, let's give our due.
Ooh.
What's your first real Robin Williams memory?
my first real one was definitely Happy Days. I remember watching that on TV in the late 70s and seeing him come in that silly little red costume and bringing his fingers together to destroy the world, but the Fonz stops him.
See, I never watched TV, so I never really saw
You never
any
got
of that.
that chance, did you?
Which is sad because now all I do is watch TV to make up.
Yeah.
But
And then
yeah,
somehow that episode got a big enough reception, they gave the guy his own fucking series.
yeah, 3 or 4 seasons of that shit too, or
Yeah.
at least 2. I remember. Oh God, I don't know. I remember seeing Popeye at a really young age and being like, "This is horrible."
Yes,
Like-
I'm not gonna lie. Sentimentality aside, Popeye was a bad flick.
Yeah, no, I remember being very displeased with that. But I remember seeing Moscow on the Hudson on HBO back in the day,
Yeah.
and The Survivors with Walter Matthau. Like,
That's
just
right. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about the Survivors.
That's a great flick. So is Moscow on the Hudson. That's terrible, but great. But Jerry Reed is a hitman. Like, that shit can't be made up.
One of the first movies I paid for myself.
You paid to see The Survivors in
No,
the theater?
no.
Oh.
Moving on.
Okay.
Because I don't remember quite enough of it to actually talk about it. I got a job. Dan and I got jobs. We went to the movies just about every week.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yep. One of the first movies we ever saw out in the theater together on our own dough was Good Morning Vietnam.
That
And I remember feeling so touched that his name was also Adrian in there.
and nobody quoted Rocky at him.
Freddy's the devil. Freddy's the devil.
No, I remember. Well, I mean, we've already before this, we like you and I bonded over talking Live at the Met.
Yep.
That single album was one of the most phenomenal things of my childhood. Like, that was the funniest goddamn thing that had ever happened.
It really was. It was hard to tell. You don't get a lot of crazy comedy as a kid.
Right.
And even as late as the 80s, we were still blown away by how awesome Bill Cosby was.
Yep.
But we still haven't, in many points, gotten to Richard Pryor We hadn't gotten really to Eddie Murphy just yet.
You had. I never like you. You
I
were
caught
way more familiar.
really lucky because we spent a lot of time alone in the summer. Parents were working. We were out and about. The library didn't give a shit who they lent a fucking record to.
Really?
Yeah, the library in Roseville, Michigan did not give a fuck.
I did not
So-
know that. That is hysterical.
So we were able to get Delirious on LP.
Yep.
So the stuff that was coming out of Robin Williams' mouth in 1986 was just like, bing!
It was insane. Like if you had to press me to who's a better comedian, like I'm always going to go Bill Cosby. But the difference, the energy, and the pure abandon of Robin Williams.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, of course, it was seriously drug fulfilled. And later on, through Robin Williams, I discovered Steve Martin and the other side of comedy. But you know, I'd grown up on Bill Cosby and this light like storytelling. Like for God's sake, I listened to Bob Newhart LPs. Like you know, I'm cool, kids. But yeah, like Live at the Met was so meaningful and amazing.
I can't get over it. The fact that you still own the fucking cassette for it. That can't be the original one you bought.
That's the
in
original.
80s.
That is. I've only owned that once. I've never had to replace
You
that.
bought that in the 80s?
Yep.
Holy fuckamoly, man.
Yeah, that is the original one. One of the few cassettes that I still own. But you know what it is? Eventually, as you do with things that you've loved your entire life, a lot of times you burn out a little bit. And it was hard to revisit. And his style of comedy, as you watched it more and more, like his over-the-topness, wasn't as funny as it had been.
Yeah, there is an initial shock that really hits you and then keeps you for just a while. And then you're like, well, you know, there's more nuanced stuff.
Right. You know, you looked at things differently. And obviously he moved on as well with more nuance. And the things that he did, The Fisher King is one of my all-time favorite films. Good Will Hunting, even Toys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you notice the critical difference between his bearded movies and his clean-shaven movies?
Very true, actually. But, you know, Aladdin, like, he'd gone all sorts of different places. But I could never bring that album was so important to me that I could never bring myself to get rid of it. Like, I never replaced it, put it on CD or, you know, anything like that. But I could never, I got rid of plenty of tapes that I'd owned for years and moved on from. But at no point.
That's the one you just couldn't say no to.
You know, I still have all the Python albums I had on tape, and I still have a couple Dr. Dementos, and I still have Robin Williams.
I think I got maybe 4 cassettes left, tops.
Weird Al, I assume, in your case?
Oh, yeah. I got it in 3D. I got
that I got rid of. But Robin Williams, I could never bring myself to part with.
You know how I got Weird Al in 3D?
I assume shoplifting is involved?
Close.
Oh, good.
I stole it from the Roseville Public Library.
Shop borrowing? Borrow lifting?
It just never gave it back. He was on the radio when it was funny, and I was 12.
Hey, you know, we could have a whole different podcast on Weird Al and his meaning. But, yeah, Robin Williams is not with us anymore. And if that doesn't bother you, then fucking turn my podcast on. Like, you are not my fan. All right, so moving from that to what the hell week is it?
It is Marvel week, my man.
Do you find our Marvel episodes tend to be the most mediocre?
Now, by mediocre, you mean not funny.
You know, I think the indies bring me to the highs and the lows, and the DCs bring me to a lot of lows.
I see what you're saying.
But the Marvels
are the midline, somewhat dependable but hardly extraordinary stuff.
There's a Ryan Adams song called Easy Plateau that I just feel is very applicable here.
Easy Plateau. Yes, that works pretty well, as a matter of fact.
But there's many things, like I look forward to some of the Marvel books, but I don't look forward to them the way I did before they switched up.
Yeah.
I don't. See that. I am starting to enjoy Edmondson Cap more than I thought I would.
No, Remender turned that shit right around.
But I still don't enjoy it as much as Brubaker.
I was so close to a guilt-ridden drop of Captain America. and he's pulled it out so far, and it remains to be seen if he can keep it going.
No, it's true. But I enjoy Bendis on X-Men a great deal, but not as much as Bendis on Avengers.
Right.
I just if everybody went back, except for Iron Man.
And that's the thing, man. I mean, we're all about stability as
We're old. The shit does not need to change anymore.
nerd, moron, geek guys. We don't like change. Because once we do find something good, why the fuck should it?
Well, you know what? I mean, if you look at, and I don't, like, I know podcasts are, we differ from a lot of podcasts in the idea that we are willing to be bitches. But I feel kind of bad about this because I'm throwing a talented writer under the bus. But Jeff Johns on Green Lantern should have walked away at some point. Because I feel like every time the next huge pointless arc goes on, it lessens the overall effect.
So to you, he didn't leave on time.
I do think that happened. I think Peter David did not leave Hulk on time. I think if he'd left sooner.
I see what you're saying. I'm with you.
I mean, some people leave too soon. Some people leave right on time. I feel like Simonson left Thor right on time. But I mean, we're always like, you know, he could have done 50 more. I'd still want those too. Like, I don't know, but I feel like he had capped right where he wanted to.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I could definitely John Byrne could have done more fantastic, but you know, John Byrne could have done more anything, and I'd be like, shit, I'm in. Dude, you know those two Avengers I bought in a dollar box that I found? By the way, listen to this very carefully. A dollar box I found in a pawn shop. One of them was a John Byrne Avengers. My ability to find random John Byrne books is insane. Hey, I bought a Champions. Holy shit, this is John Byrne.
You have this. It borders on preternatural, man. It really does. You find the kookiest shit in the kookiest places, and it's almost always golden for you.
Well, you know, it helps to really
Whereas
like
loose standards don't hurt.
Yeah, you know, it helps to like stupid shit. But I'm working out my dollar box article that will lead into my dollar box finds articles. But before I start doing it came from the dollar box, I want to kind of establish, because there's $3 boxes.
Right.
There's the show dollar box, which is usually vendors or high-end collections where people pull out a cherry pick, and then depending on how picked over it's been, you can either do very well or slowly move down.
Okay.
Then you have your comic shop dollar box, which has been mauled.
Right. You're lucky to find anything worthwhile.
Well, you will always find, because they're always re-adding to it, but at the same time, like it's an effort.
It's 90% timing.
Like when you go to a show dollar box, 9 times out of 10, you can go right to an alphabetical,
right?
Dive in and, you know, find out if there's something you can use or not. And as a Batman fan, like as long as you're not too particular, and that's fair. Like, you know, if you only want to find fucking DC's Advanced Dungeon and Dragon comic, you're going to have a hard time. Like, if you're going to have a really small window, you have to accept. Like, there were 15 issues of Major Bummer. It took me 8 years to find the last one.
Which is insanity, because why wouldn't you be able to find that quickly?
Because nobody bought it. Like,
exactly.
It didn't exist. It had the print run of friggin' toilet paper.
Which is, you know, explains it right there. You know, if it had a middling print run, then, you know, it should take 3 years.
But there's still one John Byrne Superman that I cannot find. I have every John Byrne Fantastic Four, which is much harder. I think it's 22, but I'd have to double check to be sure. But I'm pretty sure it's 22. But yeah, I mean, I found.
Holy shit! You finished off Byrne Fantastic Four.
I completely.
That's amazing.
Oh no, not quite. There's an annual he did partial on that I have to pick up, but that's middling. Like, you know, I finished Fantastic Four, and I found not only did I find all the original issues he did before he was the writer, I found enough to give you a decent run of those.
Yep. I'm quite happy with that, by the way.
Because, yeah.
Just so you know.
But, yeah, I finished, like, I need 5 Simonson Thors, including Balder of the Brave 4, which I've never even seen.
How the hell are you going to find that?
I don't know. I found Balder Brave 2 and 3 in a antique shop. Like,
is that the one in Clinton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I find strange shit everywhere. It's amazing. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, like, if you limit yourself too much, like, if you just want Marvel Star Wars, you're going to have a hard road. Mm-hmm. You can find pretty easily, and I know, like, finding Star Wars is not easy, but 70 to 80, like, there's a weird little window. Or
Yeah.
maybe, like, 50 to 70, like, somewhere in that range.
In my experience, it's been 40 to 80.
Simonson issues, for whatever reason, Simonson Star Wars, he had a nice little run in the middle. Those are not that hard to find.
No.
Anything earlier is a pain in the ass, and anything later is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Usually,
Well, 'cause
the
there was no
later
run. They
issues
weren't
nobody
good.
wants at all. That's why they printed less. That's why it got canceled. Usually, that's how that works.
I did very well. I have like the last 8 or 9 final issues. The last one I had forever. I have no idea where it came from. But I found a
I
bunch
got
of
to keep reminding myself to say right instead of just nodding.
Yeah, but I found the rest at a flea market that some guy was selling all his Star Wars crap, and I'm like, keep your toys, man. I'll take these. And he had Marvel Doctor Who comics. I'm like, I should buy these because someone will want them. I'm like, I'm not paying you money for Doctor Who comics from Marvel. Like, first off, no.
You know
Second
what?
off, double no.
Dude, my pop would pay you.
Yeah.
He would totally pay you. Absolutely.
Oh, speaking of that, I have another Fu Manchu for your pop.
Oh, excellent. He'll appreciate that.
But yeah, like, but getting back to the dollar box thing, so the show box offers you a lot of options, and you can do well. Like, you're always going to find 1 or 2 Star Wars, unless they've really been picked over. You're always going to find 1 or 2 Indiana Jones with a 30-issue run. It's a pain in the ass. But Cat,
Wait, it was only 30 issues?
32 or 34.
Really? That's it?
Did not do well.
Huh. I know Herb Trimpe was not exactly a lauded and sought after
I like
artist.
Herb Trimpe, as you know. The one comic book page I own is Herb Trimpe, thanks to you, and it's an Indiana Jones page. But I think his work on fucking G.I. Joe was awesome. But, although I've made fun of him too, because later in life he was definitely very... but you gotta remember, like, Ditko was doing them at the end. Like, there were some strange art and writing choices. Like, this was not a book Marvel was putting top talent on.
No, which is bizarre, because if they really exploited it, I mean, that's a huge series. Everybody loved Indy Jones movies.
But they didn't buy... The problem was the Indy Jones book wasn't necessarily... Like, it was so retro and awesome that it had a huge fan base as a film that didn't lead to comics. And they had Chaykin on there for a while. They had talent, but as it started to die off, they were not putting A-level. And Marvel always had a history of this in the past of not putting top talent on books that they were waiting to die, and shockingly they died. The 80s had a lot of rough periods.
Here's a question,
What do you got?
because I've never seen them myself. Have you ever seen a trade of indies? Any collected Indiana
Yes.
Jones at all?
Yes, and you want, oddly enough, at Disney World, where they have the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, you could buy all the novelizations. You could buy, and I regret to this day not buying it. I made a rare adult decision, and it pisses me off. I did not buy a Mickey Mouse dressed up as Indiana Jones, and it fucking haunts me.
You just can't handle that, can you?
I did. Like, if you were going to be like, scream the words, "You need to own this, Rev."
You need to own this, Rev.
Am I wrong? Like,
that is 9,000% you.
yeah, I cannot believe. Like, it literally. Like, I stop and I'm like, what? How do I not do that in that moment? But yes, they did have literal comic graphic novels. The problem was I went on like the last day and I'd already bought enough ridiculous Rev type shit. And I'm like, I gotta pull back here. I just bought a fucking $20 toy set of Link Hogthrob as Han Solo. And Fozzie the Bear is Chewbacca. So,
That's amazing.
but yes, I have seen those there. That's the only place that I've ever seen an actual Indiana Jones graphic, and it was at fucking Disney World. Or and Disney MGM or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so getting back to the dollar box thing, then we'll hit the Marvel thing. So the show one, then you have the comic one, which is of course a lot more effort.
Right.
And then you have the random dollar box, your flea market, your tag sale, your sadly pawn shop or antique parlor, Goodwill, where you have no idea what you're going to come across.
Yeah, there's no way, and you can't even ask. Are you sure you don't have an Avengers 262 in this box? Fuck you, pal. Just what's on the what's on the shelf? Just what's on the shelf.
I have found phenomenal things, and I have seen like the most horrible choices made. Like I found a Spirit kitchen sink press #1 in an antique shop for $1. Like the first run of kitchen sink doing the Spirit with Groovy on the cover to give you an idea.
That's some old shit.
I'm exaggerating with Groovy, but I think literally you have two women fighting over him going, I've never made it with the Spirit before. Do you want to sell them? Like not shit you find in the 80s. We'll just put it
Wow. I suppose eventually we should get the real books.
You know, I mean,
Current
I've filled as much as I possibly can.
Dude, 20 minutes is plenty, baby.
I'm a giver.
That you are, in fact. So, they've double shipped yet again.
Fuckles.
With Iron Man 27 and 28. And under most circumstances, having an extra issue of Iron Man would not appall me. And it doesn't now.
Yeah.
It's just money-wise, financially, it does irritate me.
Well, I mean, they're double shipping. It's not as bad as the double Cap, double Spider-Man, double Hulk, double Thor, double Iron Man fiasco.
They've dialed back significantly on this.
And
but
if you
it's
got
still
to take
here.
one, Iron Man is the one that you want the most. Iron Man and Spider-Man. Well, actually, no, because Spider-Man's doing the 0.5 issues, which you loathe.
Yeah, I'm done with. I don't care about those. I'm not getting the points anymore. I tried a couple. I don't care about the storyline in this pseudo companion book or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be.
The Spiderette.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not even sure what happened in these points, but I don't care about points. If you want to give me 2 Spidey books a month, I'm used to that. Fine, whatever. It's stupid, but I'll do it. But the point thing is just, it's too gimmicky to be bothered with. And I don't care about the content.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, the point issues are 0 issues. They're filler issues, and sometimes they're very quality ones.
Sometimes.
And sometimes, just like sometimes you're like, holy shit, like huge things happen in this 0 issue. But I guarantee anybody who collects comics has a lot more crap fucking 0 issues than they have.
Yes.
It's like
That's a guarantee.
It's 70 to 80 annuals. Like, every now and then you get one, you're like, fuck, that was good. Most of the time, you're like, you just dragged out a story that was terrible and made it longer, which was mean, and then you put in some worse backup stories.
Annuals ain't what they used to be, baby.
They never were, though. That's the thing. Like,
That
how
is
many
the thing.
great annuals can you really name?
X-Men Annual 8.
Which one is that? Is that
Asgard.
All right. Yep. Well, actually, X-Men had a few, which you have all the ones I had.
Captain
But-
America Annual 8.
What's that?
With the Wolverine on the
Oh,
cover.
yeah, that's huge. I've never even seen that.
I still got it.
There's a
Want
couple.
to borrow it?
No. I'm sure I'll find. Put enough time and you find everything. But X-Men, like a couple of the X-Men ones I gave you, the Alan Davis one with the alien with the gem in the forehead.
Ah, yeah.
That's a phenomenal annual.
Yeah,
the Executioner one,
Really? I don't remember that.
the Jason Pearson
That was
one.
good.
Oh,
Really?
dude, Mastermind's death.
Oh, I'd totally forgotten all about
17.
that one. I'll have to get another gander at that one.
But yeah, most annuals are generally kind of disappointing.
Yep.
All right, but getting back to Iron Man.
Yes. So, now in 27, Arno and Tony finally recruit
Red Peril,
Crimson
Red Menace.
Tide, or the Bolshevik Scarlet Letter, or whatever the fuck she's being called.
The
this
Red
year.
Reporter.
The Red Reporter. There you go. And they give her
Scarlett
custom-
Johannesburg. It does not fucking matter.
They give her this custom armor that they had time to design, like on the potty or something.
Dude, do you know how many spare armors Tony has lying around? Like that guy could cobble together 8 different
But
armors
it's
in about
custom
14
to the
minutes.
girl that has no hands now. So,
Do you find yourself just closing your eyes and imagining like this full awesome armor on the inside, right in front of the robot fists, or 2 huge fucking buttons that the stump can hit?
I am now.
Dunka!
I hadn't before.
Like, I'm sorry, like, you know, you gotta... How? Is she operating with her knees? Like, what the fuck?
Well, a thing that they skip over a lot, and has been in the Iron Man books frequently in the past, but they're taking it as read now, is that there is a mental interface.
Yeah, fair enough. They have established that. I just prefer to think of the thunka.
Of course you do.
I'm an idiot. But
Now, meanwhile, the remaining Mandarins are hanging out with the Mole Man, reviewing designs.
because he's a Mandarin too.
reviewing designs for this giant soft serve that they're fucking having there. I don't know what that thing is. The plan is to attack Troy from underground, which I suppose, I mean, most people plan their city defenses around ground attacks, around air
The
attacks.
Mole Man always has an advantage, and that's the stupidest statement I've ever had to say, because that guy loses more than fucking France. But the Mole, like, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, and nobody expects a
the Mole
3-foot
Man.
jackass surrounded by pod people to show up out of their sewer and start whipping their ass. Like, it's not possible. Like, think about how often you trip, for God's sake, let alone somebody shows up, opens the ground beneath you, and starts hitting you with a little cane stick while pod people are pulling you down going, one of us, one of us. Like, that shit is just not, you can't prepare for that.
No, it's impossible.
You have to be Howard Hughes, like, sitting in a fucking, $1 million cocoon slightly above the ground with a fucking AK-47 and 85 pounds of Red Bull to survive that shit. It's not, you can't prepare for the
Wow,
moment.
you're killing me with this. Now, meanwhile, while that's all happening, Tony Stark shows up after, like, the fucking house party protocol, because why not? Because it was in the movies, people expect it. It's not like Tony ever took care of business by himself before anyway. You know, that kind of is like, now he needs 35 armors to do something. He had 50 fucking years to kick ass all by himself.
He's had like 7. Come on, it's the Marvel now.
Oh, it's Marvel now. Okay, sorry about that.
What?
I apologize, Rev. He's been working by himself forever, and now he needs all these 35,000 autonomous fucking armors. And I was like, dude, just he's the hero, man. He's the hero.
Well,
Have him be the hero.
I think you have to give some consideration to playing into
Oh, hang on.
sorry.
Something important is happening. Be right back. Sorry about that, kids. We're back.
Damn
For the
work.
work emergency. So, yeah, where was I? House party protocols. Why not? It's not like Tony ever took care of business by himself before.
That's where
not
we were.
now that he can do Pacific Rim with 28 fucking kaiju or whatever.
Well,
the
you
fuck.
know what? I mean, I think they're playing into the movie thing a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I really liked about this issue, before you go back to your note reading,
Yeah.
is 2 points. One is that the villains suck, and I actually need they need to start upgrading Iron Man villains again. Like, too many comic book characters have shit for villains these days.
Yeah, it's events more than villains.
Yeah, they've downplayed so many Marvel villains, and they've really, in the last years, particularly Fraction's final storyline, took almost every major Iron Man villain and made him a dill hole. Like, he pummeled them all at the end of that.
He really did. That's absolutely true.
So far, Gillen has not had one really strong villain. Like, name one. The Recorder, like, that's a resolve, never to be seen again.
Huh. That's a very good point.
Yeah, it's a different world now. Like, but you need to, like, there is nobody that you expect to go up against Iron Man. Like, remember how much I used to talk about Fraction doing a Mandarin story?
Right.
I just, I need more Iron Man villains to start establishing themselves again. But I love the fact that these villains are just jackasses. Like, they can't even get on the same page. One of them wants to open superhero franchises in New York, so he's mad at another one for attacking New York. Like, these guys are douche boats. They're not even douche canoes. They're full-on douche boats.
Holy crap.
And then secondly, I really like the fact that Tony is expanding his team outwardly. The really good Iron Man arcs involve backup characters. Tony is a flawed, horrible human being.
Many times.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites in comic books, and you know this. Like, you and I have legit Iron Man collections. I gave you mine, and I still have a legit one because I missed it. But Tony can't carry a whole book because his personality is basically a dickwad.
And it's gotten worse over the years.
Well, they've made him so much more arrogant than he used to be.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he doesn't drink anymore, but he still needs a fatal flaw. What if we made him the worst person ever? Well, we still have Deathlock. Fine. The worst person ever after Deathlock. And there's your title.
The worst person ever after Deathlock.
But
So
if you don't,
very good.
If you don't bring teams, like Tony's at his best when he resources. He's a businessman first. That's why he's always done so well with the Avengers, because it's like, all right, that looks really hard and unpleasant. Hulk, go hit that. We need a battle plan. Cap, do something patriotic and flag wavy. Black Widow, massage my shoulder. Like, you know, that's Tony.
Massage my shoulder. You suck, dude. That's horrifying.
Am I wrong?
But accurate.
When Tony has teams to play off of and people whose resources he can use, he's at his absolute best. When he's entirely on his own, he overthinks things, overshoots, and usually blows off his own robot foot.
Robot foot.
Well, what armor foot does not sound
whatever. Right. 28, I wasn't nearly as interested in.
The rumor being Pepper's new boyfriend, the only way that worked, and I have to give Gillen credit in that he used the Ring's jealousy factor and amped that up.
Right?
So the Ring was responsible, but they took, you know, so fine. It made that work, but it didn't. It was just, come on. Like, oh, Pepper's got a boyfriend. Oh, he's a supervillain. Really? Are we, we're back to Bob Layton and the Fury of Happy Hogan right now? And I love that period, but we're past that. You know what I mean?
We are. It's absolutely true.
And tell me that, you know, Pepper's got a boyfriend. He must be a supervillain. That's that period. You know, is he Spy Master? And by the way, bring back Spy Master. Fraction did, and he was awesome.
Yep.
And gay.
We had fun with it.
Who knew? But yeah, they really, he does so many things well, but yeah, I need a villain. I need like the epic feud.
Could use a decent feud every once in a while.
You know, it's the same thing in Batman. Like, it's the same three guys sucking again and again.
Eventually, they give Red Rider a ring for some reason.
Yeah, you know what? If you show me Professor Pig one more time, fuck off. I'll take Kite Man. Fucking Crazy Quilt. Nobody's done anything with that dude in fucking 20 years.
I was talking about Iron Man again.
I'm ignoring Red Rider. But yeah, like, you need to have foes. And the great books are based on their villains. And we've talked a lot about this in various podcasts.
Oh, sure.
Iron Man does not. Iron Man had a couple high points with Crimson Dynamo, Titanium Man, Mandarin, Stain,
Yes.
Roxxon.
But not lately.
No,
there's been no direct villain with a plot. Because, like you said, the Recorder is not particularly iconic.
It was awesome, but it was also a one-shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it opened amazing doors, and it really was the storyline where, like, fuck, this guy can do Iron Man well.
Yeah.
So in no way am I criticizing it, because it was legit good. And if you haven't read it, go back, buy the graphics, fucking sit back and read The Secret Origin of Tony Stark. That's a great read. But Fraction
all true.
had villain after villain after villain, and there's nothing. Like, the rumor is just not the Mandarin. Like, there's no way.
Even when he brought in Malekith, he's not an Iron Man villain.
I thought they used him quite well, but you're never going to see a lot of Iron Man Malekith feuds.
Yeah. It's not a matter of, oh, this guy has been haunting me forever. I have to take care of him once and for all. It's just another mission.
I want a fucking Gillen, obviously not Titanium Man, but a Titanium Man. You know, like, how cool would that be? Like, that guy is fucking years long gone toast. But, you know, give me a Red Ghost story. Give me something. Intelligentsia. Like, is that not the perfect Iron Man feud?
It really is.
Why is the leader Iron Man feud never happened? That would be amazing.
I would pay real money to read that.
I say some dumb shit, but occasionally I really catch on to something. And you have to admit, the Intelligentsia versus Iron Man is a fucking done deal. The Wizard, Iron Man would defeat that guy in 13 seconds, and they'd all be awesome.
All 13 seconds of it would be amazing.
Has there ever been Iron Man versus...
There'd be a panel a second.
Has there ever been Iron Man versus MODOK?
MODOK? Oh, yeah, he's fought MODOK several times. Absolutely.
Oh, good Lord, French nuns.
Anyway, so, yeah, I think Iron Man has played out at this point. In terms of the podcast, yes. Yeah, in terms of this episode.
I still consider it a must-read, though. Like, it is a great book.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
But, yeah, he needs to start building some actual villain. And there, you know Arno is eventually going to be the villain.
It seems highly likely.
Which sucks, because it would be great to introduce a brand new character and not have him turn evil eventually.
Yeah. But that can't happen. You gotta have a twist. You gotta have drama. Whatever. So... anyhow, we've established all of that. Uncanny X-Men Special 1. Now...
what are you doing buying specials at your age?
What?
You should know better.
At my age. You know, New Mutant Special 1.
Is an exception.
You know me. I live in hope.
No, you don't. You actually avoid specials like the plague. You have to admit this is an aberration. And there's an Iron Man one next time.
Yes.
Like, what's going on?
But you'll like that one. So the thing is, some tool bag hires Death's Head again, more Death's Head for God's sake, to abduct A. Summers. Oddly enough, he gets the wrong one.
I didn't want Cyclops.
Oh, man, what am I going to do with Cyclops?
Is this sudden resurgence of Death's Head mean that all of the Marvel UK characters, like, are we going to be seeing Motormouth and Kill Power?
Christ, I hope not.
Or the Warheads team?
No, you know, God, why did you even mention that? I'm hoping
Do you remember that with Wolverine on the cover? I actually got fooled and bought that first issue because Wolverine was in it, because I was dumb as a stump.
I know I didn't get it. I read it. I didn't get it.
I think you got mine and you got rid of it.
Probably. That was enough for me.
You will not be staying in the collection, sir. You are horrible.
I don't know. It was on the list. I was like, whatever.
You have to admit, though, it threw me a little bit for you to do that. But I don't have a problem with using Death's Head per se.
Yeah.
Like the wacky robotic mercenary character. Actually, I do. It's he's like the Marvel Lobo, and there's no room for that. Is he funny? Not really. Like, Gillen wrote him with a couple good lines, but Gillen writes everybody with a couple good lines. So
right.
You're not moving the character forward that way. It's like, well, he's awesome when I use him. Well, thank you, Proust. That's fucking amazing. For the rest of us, he's a dillwad.
Proust.
Yes, I reference the remembrance of things past, bitches.
Wow.
I'm literary.
Look at you go. Yeah, so that was not particularly entertaining book.
Yeah, no, and it didn't complete it. Is there a second one, or does it play into something?
There is. It goes into a whole nother book
that we're not touching.
I'm not getting.
And therein lies the other problem with specials.
Yes. Now, moving towards other X-Men related shit. There's All New X-Men 28.
That's a big sigh.
Yeah. So, Discount Future Xavier Jr. he reorganizes. He backs up. He says, "All right, I've had a fight. I got to back up." He reorganizes Future Beast's mind, I think. Did I get that right?
Yes. He basically makes Future Beast his bitch. And
Yeah.
occasionally he allows him to remember that he doesn't want to be doing the evil things he's doing just to fuck with him.
Right. Okay.
Which is some pretty malicious shit when you really break that down. I have to say, as much as I hate time travel, and as much as I hate future versions, which is why I have not read the X-Men for almost 20 years, and you know this to be true. Like, if you look at my X-Men collection, there's Claremont with Paul Smith, there's Claremont with Romita, there's literally exactly one issue of Claremont with Byrne, which is in horrible shape, and I bought in front of you for $4 because I have to have a Byrne of everything, because I am a ridiculous person.
Now, Discount Future Xavier Jr. hijacks the Cuckoo's hive mind. I should never have watched fucking Everything Wrong With, because they are fucking with my comedic skills. He hijacks the Cuckoo mind, and we see how he hijacked the future X-Men as a result. Bad guy licks a woman's face cliche, which I was like, really, fellas, you're going for this? Does this have to happen again?
I really like them, though. I think these are legitimate villains.
They lick no, I'm talking specifically.
No, that was
of the face
lame
lick.
and sad. Like, come on, you can do better. But I think that the sons of... First off, you have to give Mystique credit. All right, I'm going to break off into literary
Do I?
You have, yes, and bear with me. I'm going to break off into literary trivia. Yeah, welcome to the Literary Trivia Moment with your host, the Reverend Mad Dog. Hey, Yorkie. Anyway, Roald Dahl
Yeah.
wrote a book called Switch Bitch.
All right.
It was a 4-story collection of short stories in which he introduced a character called his Uncle Oswald, who is like the world's greatest fucker. All this guy does is bang. And he carried this short story into a book called My Uncle Oswald.
Oh,
and
okay.
the whole point of this book was that Oswald decided create through scientist friends. Like, all this guy does is have scientist friends who come up with crazy things that allow him to bang.
What?
So he comes up with a pheromone, one of these scientists, that attracts men to women to the degree that they go berserk. So he decides to use his pheromone with a ridiculously hot girl to capture the semen of the world's greatest mind. So he brings this girl to all these different geniuses. This is a real thing, I swear to God. And they all go berserk, and she collects them, for future sale. Now, I told you that story to tell you this one. Mystique is basically doing the thing with the world's greatest mutants. I mean, think about these children. She's collecting the best of the best. Wolverine, Sabretooth, Magneto, Xavier. Like, apparently, she is the ride of all rides. What's your favorite ride at fucking Universal or Disney? What's your favorite ride in Mutantdom? It's apparently Mystique, because she is just hitting the very best of the best. And as a result, her children are the very most fucked up that you can possibly have.
You 100% lost me.
Think about it. These
What part of that goes into this issue?
all of these. The villains are her children with the worst and best mutants you can possibly find. Like,
okay.
Everybody Mystique is hooking up with is A-level.
Yeah.
All right? It's not like Luke Cage, where he hooks up with literally anything with a pulse. Mystique is the most premier banger in the Marvel Universe. It's like, I'm sorry, do you have your own book? Have you led mutants for years? Very particular. You got to give her credit. And as a result, her kids are serious scumbags.
Yeah. You do the best so you get the worst.
Well, she's doing the best of the worst. I mean, we're talking about Magneto, Sabretooth, like, you know.
Well, yeah, there's that. Okay, that makes more sense now. What? Yeah, so Thor 23.
Real, man, you know.
Wait, you got more?
No, I mean,
Talk
Raw,
more.
like I can top Raw Dahl, for God's sake.
Talk more if you want, but I don't know what you're telling me.
I just, for all the time traveling piece of shit villains, these guys I legitimately like. A, they're brothers. B, there's a real dynamic between the two of them.
All right.
And C, they're seriously impressive. The combination of powers is well done. And that's so rare. Like, you look at most X-Men villains,
yeah.
and it's like, I'm the Blob. Oh, I create fire. I'm Pyro. I'm Toad. I jump around and stick my tongue out and get punched in the face. Like, the Brotherhood of Mutant Villains
That's essentially their whole shtick.
yeah, awful. And then you get into, like, the mid-'90s with the Lee and Liefeld, you know.
Blech.
Those guys were awful. The Lobdell and Nicenzia villains, like... So here you've got two guys whose powers work well in tandem, have a good team relationship. When's the last time you saw that anywhere?
It's been a while.
What's the last good villain that you remember coming up, like brand new villain? And the fact that you're taking this long depresses the shit out of me.
What's in your mind? Who's the...
I don't have, like, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
see,
like,
that's it right there. You
I
don't
mean,
know.
we don't need a lot of new villains because there's so many years of history to play with. I'll give you
Right.
that. But at the same time, these are guys that I would revisit a storyline with. And it's a time-traveling son of Xavier villain, for God's sake. It's Legion. I should hate this with every fiber of my being. And I'm like, I want to see these guys get punched in the face, which is your villain goal.
Right. I'm with you.
That was my point.
All right.
In a really
Sounds good.
long, convoluted way.
Very good then.
Oh, you're totally playing the host and not the talker today,
I
aren't
totally
you?
don't give a shit. What have I got to say when you pull that shit out?
My Uncle Oswald. It's a real thing, kids. Look it up.
Now, in Thor 23, Thor appears crazily and insanely with Gore's weapon, for God's sake.
That's a bad
Thor
plan.
is using the stuff of Gore.
I like that sentence. It does not sound right.
Galactus is just about to kill all his great granddaughters, but he shows up with this thing. Now, like an asshole, they switch scenes, and present Thor, Ulick, and Agar, the bull-headed bull of Wall Street, or whatever the fuck he's calling himself this week, they throw down.
The Roxator.
No.
No, we're not going with that one.
No, we're absolutely not going with that
Dude, you
one.
veto all my good names.
All the good names? Really? Are you certain of the phrase good?
Dickbat?
Way vetoed, way ungood. Now, Roz puts up a fight as well, but she's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, so you expect that. She doesn't get to do very much because everybody's superpowered and she's got a 9.
Well,
So whatever.
I mean, come on. She's like she should have a 22 and a clipboard. Like, she's the environmental agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I still can't believe that's a real faction.
That is really hard to wrap my head around. S.H.I.E.L.D. has gotten... They've expanded their mandate, shall we say.
All I'm saying is that the Samuel L. Jackson Fury is way more liberal than the David Hasselhoff Fury.
Stop.
If you're going to have, like...
The Hasselhoff.
The
Fury.
original Fury is not having
An environmental
nature.
group. No, he's not.
It's like, dude, I stepped on plants when I was shooting Nazis. I don't give two rats' asses about what you're talking about.
Future Thor finally kills Galactus, and it turns out that God's blood rejuvenates planets. Which is good, because that Earth needed some rejuvenating.
Yeah, you know what? So now Thor can romp with his 3 nieces in a planet with 4 plants and no people. Yay!
Great.
I'm not doing that.
You do that.
No.
You will.
No.
Oh, fuck.
I totally give you credit for the Thor Years 3. That was awesome. That one is full marks. Stick with that one.
I want to say a whole lot more, but aside from it's awesome and this is what happened, what are you going to say about it?
It is I like the book a lot. I don't love the Roxanne storyline. I love the future Thor
that
thing.
one could go away.
Which I did not think I'd say when I'm like, why am I reading this? But they've really established old Thor as this awesome version of Thor. And when they started, and you're like, dude, this is Odin. This is like a bad Thor. But they've shown characters of Thor in him over time and really built that up nicely.
Right.
But Roxanne is doing things that nobody could get. Like, suspension of disbelief is such a weird thing in comics.
It's difficult at best.
Because you have, on one hand, you're like, oh, well, this is an unrealistic storyline. In the story where the gods of friggin' Frozen Land are real, this part where friggin' robotic factories are flying through the sky, ruining the environment, I have a hard time with. So you're always going to have that. You can do whatever you want in comics, and that's both good and bad. But Roxanne is so awful and so terrible, and he's part Minotaur, and he's got trolls on speed dial. You're like, dude, you're really making me like give you a lot here.
Yeah, it's true because there are laws in the Marvel universe.
Yep.
You know, and lawyers, no matter how much you pay them, can really only get you so goddamn far.
And Roxanne has been sued to shit like 4 bajillion times. I refuse to believe they now have a CEO who's like, no, we're just going to destroy this entire small American town and get away with it. And their lawyers are like, yeah, you can stay CEO. Yeah, absolutely. Because you turn into a bull and have people gored to death. You're fucking amazingly appropriate.
It's true, isn't it? And then his recourse for everything is like, oh, you didn't like that? I'll sue you.
Yeah.
And
And
oh, you scare me. You'll take me to court. Blah, blah, blah.
it's like, dude, you're awful. Like, you literally turned into a bull and killed that guy yesterday. Do you understand? Like, you're the worst CEO ever. Fine, Rupert Murdoch, then you. Fine, yeah, Marge shot. You come in third.
Marge, holy shit, you pulled out a Marge shot. Wow.
The shot heard round the world.
Somewhere out beyond the pillars of Hercules, there's a crazy bitch like Marge shot.
Madness upon madness. But yeah, like, Roxanne should have, like, an exploding desk set up. Like, all right, well, we've had bad luck, so if you do anything too crazy, we blow your ass up. By the way, in that 80-page contract we gave you, you signed off on this, so enjoy.
You agreed. It's all done.
I hate to tell you, but your desk will kill you if you're a dickwad.
Now, this new Hulk series, which I don't get the purpose of, we're already on number 4. And the Abomination has already shown up, because you can't have Hulk without Abomination. So they fight for a little bit while the Avengers determine how to teleport around away by weakening him in something and hit with Cap Shield. It was muddy at best. I don't get what they're trying to accomplish in this book, how they're trying to do it. They give him this mini extremis to heal his brain, although there may be, of course, unintended consequences.
That is the worst idea ever.
It really is a bad idea.
Like, Tony, you're literally pulling something out of your own skin for being horrible, and you're going to put it in the Hulk?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not connected. Like, part of it is because the Wade book ended on a down note. I felt like it lost its way.
Yep.
But it was so good.
And yet this is still the Wade book.
But this is not the Wade book we were reading.
No, it really isn't.
And I'm just not down with this Hulk. Like,
I'm really curious about how much of this shit is his and how much of it is editorial.
You never know. But, obviously what he was doing, which was phenomenal, and it definitely fell apart at the end. Like, the start of Indestructible Hulk was amazing.
Right.
The first 12 issues or so, favorite read. Well recommended. And then it started to get unclear, shall we say.
Yes. That's a very good way to put it.
But this is not salvaging it. And to me, like, the Hulk is not a book that I've bought on a consistent basis where I can't walk away from it. Like, we weren't reading the Hulk before Indestructible 1. We're like, you know what? It's fucking Wade. It's a first. We have a comic podcast. We can take this hit.
Right.
And then we're like,
Absolutely
shit,
true.
this is ridiculously good. We are in. And for the most part, it paid dividends.
Right.
We got Simonson drawing Thor again. We had some awesome Hulk story. We had some seriously frustrated Hulk. Some serious, awesome Tony Stark bashing.
Too true.
And I'm not loving anything about it. There's not one part of this book I'm like, well, that's really good.
No, not
I
really.
don't. Bagley's a great artist, but his Hulk looks weird to me.
It does.
I don't, and that just sounds childish. Like, I'm sorry. It's a very muscular body with this just not right looking head. Now, you know, I'm sure that Mark Bagley, who is a phenomenal artist, and the one time I met him at a show, a legitimately decent dude,
Yes.
liked him a lot, skipped all the nerdy fans to bring two little kids in to draw sketches for him and
Yep.
sign their books.
I remember that was a good one. That was Comic-Con
Yep.
last year.
Yep, and impressed the shit out of me. Liked him a lot from a signing standpoint. Like, had his head in the right place. It's not important.
Yep.
Kids are important. Being polite is important. That was what I liked. So I don't want to bash him at all, but I'm just not loving the look of this book
Nah,
or the writing.
His aesthetic decisions on this character at this juncture are not good.
I mean, what he does well is Spider-Man and a certain fluidity, and I don't think that the Hulk and Spider-Man play
They-
well to the same artist.
They do not equate. So I don't really give a shit about this book. I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't care.
it is not a book that I'll miss,
No.
unfortunately.
A book that has been improving for me personally has
Captain
been
America?
Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel.
which I'm actually getting quite happy with it. There's no more time travel. There's no more of the silliness we saw in the last volume, and I'm actually down with a bit of the plot.
Kelly Sue DeConnick has been raved about as a writer for some time, and I feel she's really coming into her own on this one. She has a good tone between the moral and the humor aspect.
Right.
Captain Marvel is a player in the Marvel universe, but Captain Marvel is a player because, and this is unfair, but Captain Marvel is a player in the Marvel universe because there's not another strong female to. So they're like, you know what? Who's our strongest female character? We don't have the Wonder Woman. We don't have the iconic female character.
It's true. They don't
It's
have
unfortunate.
one standout Marvel,
Storm is
right?
probably,
And she's never had her own book.
she does now, doesn't she? Or they're starting one that we're
I
not
don't know
touching.
I don't know if that's a mini or a continuum.
Either way, we're not touching it.
But either way, it took them till 2014
Right.
to do it.
But Storm, if you had to make an argument, Storm and Sue Storm, oddly enough,
Yeah.
are the pinnacles of that era. Storm has been a leader in a lot of areas and held X-Men at key points.
Right.
And Sue Storm is the man. She-Hulk is also lightly kind of traipsed into key favoritedom, but
She's big and she's a favorite, but she's never truly been a leader of anything.
well, the humor aspect has always, downplayed that.
Yeah.
It's made her successful, but it's also kept her from hitting full potential in that area, if you will.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
can
you have
see that.
Janet Van Dyne, but no one's ever buying a Wasp book.
Probably not.
Hey, I went shopping. Holy
need a
shit,
lot of
22
effort
pages
to
of
make
shopping.
it.
I'm out.
It would take a lot to make a Wasp book sell.
But no, Terry Dodson, that's all it would take.
Yes, please. Okay, you got me. I'm ready.
So Captain Marvel is their biggest female character. Not necessarily through the force of her character, but she's the most driven, the most empowered. She's sadly closer to Power Girl than she is to Wonder Woman in the sense of more being a B player pushed into the A leagues
I
than a
see.
full.
Gotcha. All right, no, that makes sense.
But I feel like Kelly has a really good grasp on the character. I did not love her first take on it, but she's changed tone, she's switched things up, and made it very interesting.
Right. Now, what actually occurred this time around?
All right, you want to get into details. Hippie.
is they're still hippie. They're still trying to negotiate with their survivors of the builders, and these people need desperately to get off the planet because something is fucking with their health. They don't know what it is just yet. We find out very, very soon, but we don't know just yet. Now, the thing is, they need ships and they need parts, and they've got neither. So there's a lot of arguing with Jason, arguing with the planetary leader, and he gives her an ultimatum, and it's horseshit. And I hate Jason as a character.
Jason is the with the death of the Kree Supreme Mind. Jason is the supreme space dick. You gotta give the guy credit. Like, you know, it's like, Thanos is next. Galactus. Nope. Jason is like, no. It's time for the Dark Horse candidate to be super space dick.
It's true. I don't like that character. I don't care how he's being handled. Jason. His name alone is enough to piss me off.
Well, Spartan X doesn't help
Jason.
at all.
Spartan X is better than Jason.
But either way, like, you gotta give the creators credit in that they've made a guy that you just want to hate. And Marvel has lost a lot of that. They've switched so many villains to heroes. Doom has been a hero. Sabretooth. Submariner, who, like, at his heart, Submariner is the biggest dick in the Marvel universe.
Dude, he is way up there. He's got all the arrogance of everyone else combined.
Yeah, it's true. But even the White Queen is a good guy now.
Yep.
And
And
then-
for a while now. For
Yeah.
like a good 12 years
But
now.
Jason is like, no, man, we need a fucking douche nozzle to be out there, and I'm willing to take that role. I grew the beard. I fucking took a vowel out of my name to look like an asshat. I lead a planet called Spartan X.
I thought it was, wasn't it Spartax?
Whatever. Either way, it's
It doesn't
horrifying.
matter. It's bad. So yeah, it's getting better. It's a better book. I'm gonna keep buying it. I'm fine with it.
It really is a solid read.
Wow, we're over an hour already. We got to get kind of cracking here.
I do not do this cracking.
You can crack. I think you've cracked before.
I've cracked a couple times, but totally differently.
Right. So
Bats, man!
this is Bat Country.
Nice.
Now, in Cap 21, Iron Nail is beating the living fuck out of Cap while Mecha Gungnir, or whatever the fuck he is now, rips up S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Raveka Rikistan, or however the fuck you pronounce that thing, man. Dugan orders the orders. That whiskey is
Hors
hitting me a
d'oeuvres?
little bit. Dugan orders the orbital cannon to take out Gungnir, which is pretty hardcore. When you need something out in space to take care of your business, you know shit is fucked up. So now Cap breaks off to take down, guess what? The core. Because everything has a core that can be taken
Thank
down.
you, Star Wars.
Thank you so much, Star Wars. Everything is based on a core. It's like, hello, redundancy. Thank you. Iron Nail catches up with Cap, however. And Cap saves the day, but they pull the, let's make Cap old routine again. I'm tired of the let's make Cap old routine.
You know what I was thinking about with Captain America? First off,
I'm tired
the
of it.
book is turning well.
It is moving forward at a much better pace with much higher quality than the Zola arc.
I think that Rami's doing great work. I thought Iron Nail was going to be cool until he turned into fucking one of those demons from the Daredevil Romita era.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Marvel does not seem to understand Captain America anymore.
Not anymore, no.
And part of this is Brubaker. Brubaker really made him a downer, but in an awesome way. Cap is successful. If you look at movie Cap,
Yeah.
he's a pretty awesome guy who has some hard times.
Right.
Cap is inherently positive. And comic Cap, it's just, they're constantly pissing on that, trying to make him as miserable as possible.
They are, and it's tiring.
It's like the guy's an optimist. Like, he knows that shit's going to work out. It always has. And it works out because he punches it in the face till it works out. That's what he does. Like, this problem bothering you, ma'am? I'm going to punch it in the face for about 45 minutes, and then it'll buy you breakfast. That's what Cap does. He punches things till they improve. You know the reason we can drink now? Because Cap punched the Bill of Rights, so that shit went away. That's what he does.
Holy shit! Wow.
I'm not wrong.
You're
Well,
not.
I'm partially wrong about punching the Bill of Rights, but you know.
Well, yeah, that was before his time, but whatever.
The fact of the matter is, though, is that Cap makes things better, and the book is constantly trying to break him,
Yeah.
and that gets old.
It does.
Like, there's
It
so
is.
little optimism. Like, when DC made fucking Captain Marvel a dick, I was so pissed off. And those of you who've actually listened to our podcast a couple times will remember. I was like, it's like, hey, let's take our happiest character and just crap all over him
Pretty much.
with great art.
Right on.
Gary Frank, make this look awesome while we ruin Captain Marvel forever.
I don't know about forever.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, you know, his number one villain is a fucking worm. He was tainted to begin with. But Chris Evans really walks this fine line about a guy who's angry about certain things, but in his heart knows that most things are awesome.
Right.
It's like, yes, okay, the world is kind of iffy. Yes, America would be better. Yes, S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of awful. But we've got apple pie and flank steak and more DVD players per capita. Like, America is awesome. The world is awesome. Everybody's a pretty decent human being if you give them a moment. Like, Cap keeps giving Batroc the benefit of the doubt.
That's true. And this shit is not happening under Remender's watch.
And Batroc lives up to that, which is why Batroc is also awesome. It's like, you know what? Batroc, you're an evil villain. You're going to kick me in the face a bunch of times, and it's going to hurt. But I know that you won't sell small children to slavery because you're not awful. And Batroc's like, well, Captain, shit. That is a terrible plan, and I will no longer be involved in this. You will punch them, and I will kick them, and I escape at the last moment, and then you will capture me, and it will also hurt.
Your French accent could use some work.
Oh, ton. But, like, lighten up on the dude. Like, oh, my fake son is dead, and my girlfriend died in Zola space, and I'm hanging out with the world's most miserable girl ever. And Sam is still in a good mood, but
Sam's going to be in a really good mood next issue.
yeah, Sam becomes Cap, and I don't like it.
No, that's not the next issue.
Nah.
There's a whole different reason he gets real happy.
Oh, he gets laid?
Yeah.
Oh. But in all honesty, like, moving the Falcon forward as a character is a positive. Turning him into Cap is not. Like, it's lame and it's been done. You just did it with Bucky, and it's like, well, we got the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier out of it. Why don't we get a Falcon series? How do we do that? Well, let's make him Cap. Everybody will like him, and then we'll give him his own fucking book. Just make him awesome, and he'll earn his own book.
That's true. That's true. You'd hope that they didn't need to go that whole marketing promotional route to get that through their heads, but
2 years from now, Sam Wilson is not going to be Captain America.
right. I believe that.
The only those changes generally don't happen with people that are successful. No one was reading Alan Scott Green Lantern when fucking they switched that shit up.
And that's a good point, but if still, more importantly than all of that, if we can get good stories of Sam as Cap, then I'm down with it till it ends.
Yeah, but at this point, don't you assume they'll just try and like make Sam there'll be a lot of pathos about how sad he is about Cap being gone, how hard it is to be Captain America?
That's going to be a tremendous factor.
Because it was just what they did with Bucky.
There's going to be a lot of panels of him sitting in the dark, wondering, looking out over a skyline, thinking, can I be as good a Cap?
I can't believe I have to ask this out loud, but did he hook up with another hero?
You'll see soon enough.
Oh God, it's that horrible Black Betty chick, isn't it?
Who?
What the
Black
hell is her
Betty?
name?
Oh, yeah. Sam has to hook up with Black Betty.
No, the fucking Zola daughter. What's her
Jet
stupid name?
Black.
There you go.
Yes.
And just like Bucky, it's like, here's your super powered fucking girl.
It's true, man. Before we hit Black Widow 7, I am going to pee. So we'll be right back. So yeah, Cap is a mess right now. Black Widow 7.
Speaking of mess,
I only wrote like 3 things about this.
what do you get?
Now, I was kind of confused on the timeline because Nat and Dee Dee were talking at some point on like the San Francisco Bridge, right?
Yep.
Yeah, on the Golden Gate or whatever the fuck that is. Now, her current mission is to meet with the contact of some kind of cyber terrorist, and she barely escapes getting assassinated. She catches the shooter, but Daredevil shows up now, and she heads to Costa Rica. Why did she go to Costa Rica?
It's the next link in the chain. She's following the mystery.
Chain of what?
I just want, like, be fun. Like, fine, you're the world's, like, downers are awesome, great, super. Black Widow hates being a super spy. Why? She's an Avenger. She's banged more superheroes than anybody other than Mystique, apparently. And El Tigre, obviously.
Okay, would you leave El Tigre alone?
Well, if you're talking Marvel horror, it's like...
Hey, relax.
But the fact that, like... Stop. Make something... Like, no one is enjoying themselves in this book one iota.
No, the character's not having a good time.
It's dripping in misery, which is just not what I look for in a comic book. The book looks great. She's very Russian. I mean, you know.
And it is a downer. It's a tremendous downer. It's just grim. Right? And I would prefer she did spy shit rather than assassination shit.
Yeah, when was she the world's deadliest assassin? When the hell did that happen?
I don't know. Everybody thinks spies and assassins are the same fucking thing, and they're so totally not.
Well, I mean, there's a certain historical value in stepping into both realms when the situation comes up. But yeah, it's not like a done deal on a daily basis.
Hey, let me delve into your 1,000-foot well of Bond knowledge.
Yep.
Was he ever actually given a hit?
Yes, a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
But more often than not, he was not. But of course, he's also not a communist, so I mean, it could be a whole different thing.
Yeah, there's that. But no, she's freelance now, so being a former commie means nothing.
Fine. I don't have a problem with Black Widow being willing to shoot someone. I think that's in character. I totally can see the Black Widow being like, well, the job requires me to shoot this guy in the face, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But the self-pity aspect is really being played to the nth goddamn degree.
Yeah, it's a little much.
And 5 issues just to adopt a cat is just like, no.
Yeah, well, that's enough of that. So
This is a book on the cusp.
It is. It's. I want to read a good book about spies. I really do.
It's called Velvet, and we do.
Aha! So, Amazing X-Men 8. I'm almost done with Amazing. I don't think I'll be getting any more Amazing if I can help it. There's some kind of accidental homicide, and then we cut to Logan visiting Heather Hudson, for God's sake. Who brought her into the mix now? James Hudson, or whatever they're calling him these days, has gone missing.
Guardian, Le Guardian, Avenger, Vindicator,
Canada guy, Major Maple
Canada
Leaf.
guy. That would be awesome.
You remember there was a character called Major Maple
I do
Leaf.
remember that, sadly.
Now, Kurt and Peter have a moment, which is kind of nice, but it's kind of like, would you guys stop being mopey for just half a fucking minute?
I've been dead. I've been dead, too.
These two, Kurt and Peter, are they're two. Kurt's happy-go-lucky. Peter has been morose at points, but generally speaking, very optimistic.
No, I'm going to disagree with you on half of that. Well, because you're speaking in Peter in the day was generally optimistic with the occasional. The last 20 years of Peter have been some morose, miserable shit.
Yeah, it was since he joined the Acolytes, it's been terrible.
Right.
And I don't like a terrible Peter. I like a happy Peter.
But at this point, the character has probably evolved to that point.
A less pessimistic Peter.
You have to say at this point, Peter's just going to be a friggin' downer.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Peter, you want to watch the Olympics? Russia loses. Wah, wah,
And isn't
wah.
there plenty enough drama to be had in the universe? Isn't there plenty enough drama to be written on the page without deliberately making happy characters unfucking happy?
Well, I think, Peter growing up and having the world, like, I don't have a problem with Peter's arc as much because, of course, he was really young
Yeah.
in the X-Men. And his great love didn't work out, and his being a hero really didn't work out, and shit is nothing. Like, anything they gave Peter to some other writer's like, no, fuck that. That guy's miserable. So now he's miserable. Fine, you did that to him. Nightcrawler started miserable, became awesome, died awesome, and now they're trying to make him miserable. It's like, no, stop that. Knock that shit off. He's Nightcrawler.
True.
He's fucking awesome. Y'all are wrong.
Y'all are wrong.
Just pick up a sword, stab some people.
So, in an attempt to find Hudson, they stumble across an entire fucking town of Wendigos, which never goes well.
And it seems to imply the entire town has been turned into Wendigos, which means that roughly James Hudson has been turned into a Wendigo.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Except Marvel's definition of Wendigo is somebody who ate human flesh and became a horrible monster.
Specifically in Canada.
And
I looked it up because I was like, really, what is the myth? I have to determine the Marvel mythology of Wendigo. Holy shit, it's cannibalism.
Yep. So I really don't need a James Hudson who's been, chewing down on Canadian beef jerky.
The thing is that is it specific wilderness in Canada, or can you just step over the border in Minnesota and have a person steak and then become fucking?
It's an interesting but horrible question. It's like, if I eat this man steak here in the U.S., I'll be fine. But if I were to step over the border here, now what if I had a person burger and I was hiking, and halfway through my delicious person burger, I happen to step into the Canadian border? Am I then a Wendigo?
It's tough. We don't know these details.
Either way, I'm going to shoot your ass on sight, you freaky man-eating person, you.
Oh, it's going to be tough getting through a fucking town full of Wendigo because that fucker threw down with the Hulk.
Dude, I love the Wendigo. Like, that was a classic Hulk villain, and Wolverine versus the Town Wendigo, kind of awesome. But I'm like, what? This book is so weird and pointless.
It is, man.
Like, where are they going? It's just like, okay, we've got this wacky team that doesn't make any sense. What can we throw at them? What about a Wendigo? Nobody's doing anything with that fucking dude. Done.
It's fucking true. They have run out of concepts to wrap X-Men books around.
There's no context in this book, and that's what's really killing me.
Yes.
It's like, oh, hey, you're a team. Here's bizarre shit. Everybody else is involved in huge, epic storylines. You go to Canada and fight Wendigo. Oh, by the way, Iceman and Firestorm might be romantically inclined, but we're doing an Iceman versus fucking Shadowcat, so we're not decided on that yet.
3/4 of a year, and the thing still hasn't found its feet or voice yet.
Yeah, and I'm all set. And since I friggin' added this one, I'm calling it. Like, you're done, sir. Plus, McGinnis and Aaron are both off it. It's like everything that drew me to this book, Nightcrawler, Aaron, McGinnis are gone. Nightcrawler's still there, but he's miserable.
Right. And who needs a miserable? We've been through this.
Yep.
Frickin' fuck it.
Damn you!
Savage Hulk 1 did not fucking impress me. Where late 70s Professor Xavier sends the team to help Banner's fractured mind. No more old stories from the past, okay? No more let's have Professor X fix everything. Professor X is dead. Leave his ass alone.
If it's not Wade and Busiek, then walk away. Like, time travel is hard and miserable, and it doesn't work.
No. So leave me out of it. I don't foresee getting any more Savage Hulks.
And
I don't care. Do you have anything at
not
all
really.
to add to that?
I like Alan Davis, but I like Alan Davis as an artist. I think he's a really talented artist. When he writes, he tends to play to his strengths, which are the visuals, and I feel like there's, holes in plot that I don't generally...
There absolutely is. Now, do you want to do something? Because we got 3 issues of Ms. Marvel coming.
Motherfucker. Yeah, I'm going to need a beer for that.
All right, well, we'll take a station break. Now, take that sentence you were about to say and say it.
You know what I really like about Ms. Marvel?
What is it that you really like about Ms. Marvel?
Is how smart it is in little details.
Yeah?
Like, let's say that you somehow got caught in alien fucking awful mist and developed the superpower to change shape.
Yeah?
The very first thing you do is probably look like Ryan Gosling or fucking George. Like the first thing she does is hero worship and turn herself into somebody that she idolizes. That's so normal in a sense. And that's what comic is missing, is that little moment of logic in choice.
Okay, I can see that.
And this book does that so well. Every little misstep and step that she makes, whether you agree with them or not, they fit her character and her decision making.
Okay.
And that's so rare these days. There's no huge jump in, I need to, the Peter Parker jump or the Batman jump, like, there's dust on his shoes. He's a serial killer. Or Peter Parker's like, wait a minute, I'm fighting the tarantula. I should go to the Tarantula Museum. I'm sure he'll go there. There's none of that. Like, it's small.
The Tarantula Museum.
But there's small steps, and they're logicked out. It's very cool.
I totally 100% agree with you. 3 fucking issues here.
That is a crazy amount of Ms. Marvel.
They kind of, we got stuck with the ordering. It didn't work as well as it should have. The girls and the kids end up going to services in the mosque, but they sneak off since no one can tell they're there because they got the partition up. Which is totally what a teenager would fucking do.
Again, that's what I love. It's like, I don't really want to be here being told how crappy it is to be a girl.
She starts changing in school, and she's like, and freaks the fuck out. So she runs in the locker room where nothing goes well because she rips it to shit.
I also love the fact that her hand because the first time this happened, her hand got larger. And now she's trapped into dealing with this giant hand thing because it's a freak out moment. So, of course, her mind goes there first. Like, hey, if I'm going to change, my hand will become enormous and awkward. It's just, there's so much cleverness behind the awesomeness of this.
All true. Why did you put on another crappy Felicia Day movie?
Because you love Felicia Day movies.
Rock Jocks. And you are lying out of your ass right now with the love fucking Felicia Day.
You love Felicia Day.
Well, as a person, maybe the movies we've watched on this show are not fucking good.
You love The Guild.
That was quality stuff.
You love
that werewolf movie was not fucking
Red
good.
was horrible, but that was one. You also love what's the musical she's in?
Dr. Horrible Sing Along Log. But that wasn't really hers. I mean, she was not starring in that. And this thing already looks 9 kinds of shit. It's been on 4 minutes.
It's not. It's been on 4 seconds. You're very judgmental.
Hello, Jesus Christ! 28 some odd years. My ass. You're talking about you're judgmental. So yeah, she ruins the fucking locker room. So she gets detention, and everybody gets detention. So she stumbles onto a staged robbery. She gets shot. She can heal herself if she morphs back.
That was kind of cool.
That was pretty good. Now, who was it? Vic finally figures out. Vic, right?
Which?
The brother that likes her.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. Vic finally figures out that she is, in fact, Ms. Marvel. So it's like, oops, I got your secret. Sorry. So they start working on her costume because her previous costume was shit. And that's just a frank assessment.
Yes.
She tracks down Bruno's brother and fights some of the Inventor, the new villain, the Inventor. She fights some of his robotic toy thingies. She's able to escape, for the most part, and pulls a Wally West with the food. Turns out her metabolism is way to fuck up there, and now she has to eat whenever she does something big. Did that just say cocksucker on the screen?
Yes, it did.
Good grief. They have a training montage. Because you
gotta
gotta
have a
montage. She gets a better costume, they kick ass, and the inventor initially seems like is a chicken? What? Why is the inventor a chicken?
I would just like to point out that I created Psycho Chicken, the evil chicken, years before this. Stealing from me.
I don't want to. Fuck. I don't like talking about inventor chickens. Chickens are animals that I don't care about anything except, fried. Give me some wings, I'm happy. Chickens don't interest me at all. Ducks don't interest me at all.
Fuck off.
I had to fish for something in there.
Yeah.
But
I originally created Psycho Chicken to fuck with you and Dan, but then
I'm certain of it.
I was up in Boston, so I had to use him in a different role-playing thing.
I'm absolutely 100%
And
certain that's true.
it did make my... I was able to fit in a quote from Bloom County in there.
Which one?
Oh, one... So basically, I had the heroes fighting a bunch of robots and whatnot, and they capture the lead robot, and there's a chicken working the controls. So one of the heroes brings a chicken up to the police.
I know which one it is.
I literally managed to say chirp. I say chirp.
She-Hulk 5 continues to be a fun book, but I don't know where they went with Polito, and I don't know who this Wimberly guy is. But honestly and openly, I fucking hate this art. I absolutely despise everything that's on the fucking page.
It does not look amazing, no.
Oh my god, it looks fucking horrible. Now, Jen goes to see the Shocker, as he was named in the Blue File along with all the other people. Patsy talks to Tigra, but Tigra loses her shit because this is the curse of the Blue File, apparently. Angie is in North Dakota trying to find the paper versions of the court case of the Blue File, but she might be dead. So fuck this art. That's my assessment of She-Hulk 5.
I loved what they did. Like, making the Shocker really break down heroes and villains was awesome. Like, the Shocker just shot up in my list based on it's like, no, you're not somebody that we fuck with.
There are levels.
We attack slapstick. We don't attack you. Like, no. That's insane. But on the other hand, like, the Angie character and her psychic monkey thing are so fucking weird. What they've done with Patsy Walker is hysterical. I mean, way to take a character that nobody's doing anything with. Like, Patsy Walker Hellcat has not been used in some time successfully. So let's make her an alcoholic friggin' private detective for an insane lawyer superhero.
Insane?
She hired Patsy Walker.
Well, yeah, okay, there's that.
And the chick with the monkey.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I just gotta say,
hate the art.
Fuck the art.
No, it was not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm sorry. The things that do occur, I enjoyed immensely. Looking at the things as they occurred hurt my eyeballs.
No, I feel like Polito has done a good job on the book. And we've both raved and teased Polito, but he's a talented artist and he's got a very distinct style. Sort of
shit, it's Jason Mewes.
Half Allred, half other people.
Right. Discount Mike Allred Jr.
But,
no, it's a fun book.
Bring Polito back, please.
Right. And Javier. And as long as it can continue to be fun, it's going to be purchased. It's that simple.
You are a She-Hulk fan.
Well, largely. I mean, she's a pretty decent character. She's one of the few truly ethical characters. Now, there's a lot of moral characters, but it's hard to find many ethical ones.
Well,
and it's a
She-Hulk,
fine line between the two.
She-Hulk is the rare comedic book that sits well within the Marvel Universe with a character who's regularly Avenger and regularly placed into the Hulk. And they allow her a side project book that is fun while not ruining the character elsewhere.
Right.
So you got to respect that.
Absolutely. I'm down with it.
All right, what do we got left in the Marvel
I'm
verse?
good. Just 3 things. Amazing Spider-Man 1.2, which I don't care about.
Now, that is the one in which they introduced the female Spider version who's been locked up forever and a day.
Is that this one?
Isn't that...
Or is that amazing?
I thought point 2 was the one where they introduced the idea that Spider-Man's spider...
Oh,
was
yeah, had
promiscuous.
bitten somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I didn't actually finish reading it because I'm like, another twisty take on yet another person's origin where we didn't get previous details that have lasted for 50 years. And I didn't care. I'm like, you're twisting things up again. You're retconning again.
Well, you know what bothered me about this? And it's totally pointless, and I'm the only fucking person that this kind of thing irks.
Yeah.
But what was the Spidey side book, Tangled Web,
Ah, yeah.
with the Ennis storyline where another classmate saw a spider bite him?
I don't remember
And-
reading that one.
Yeah, the 1,000.
Oh!
Where-
Oh.
Where
the
he
1,000.
picked up the spider that had already died
Yep.
and ate it. And the spider then consumed him from the inside.
Is that what happened in that book? I haven't read it since it came the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
So, and then it would go from body to body hunting Spider-Man. So they've already, in a weird, horrible kind of way, established what happened to the spider.
Yeah.
Now it bit a second person before the third person ate it and became a supervillain douchewad.
But was Tangled Web in continuity to begin with? Because
I
if
could
it
never
wasn't,
really
then it's
get
over.
a clear cut on that.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to go one way. I mean, you had the Rhino got a brain. One of the great
I
Greg
love
Rucka
Flowers
books.
for Rhino.
Flowers for Rhino was awesome. Typeface versus the punctuation guy was hysterical. The romance between the Grizzly and the Rhino was one of the funniest goddamn books ever. The Secret Life of J. Jonah Jameson. Like, kids, if you Tangled Web is like, that's dollar box gold.
It really is.
Like, that book was insane. The Secret Life of J. Jonah Jameson is one of my favorite things ever. And Grizzly and the Rhino dating by accident, like that. If you can't find that hysterical, you don't like comic books. Like, come on. Greg Rucka did that Kingpin story that was amazing.
Yeah.
You actually, which I have signed because I couldn't find anything Rucka, and I pulled that out. And you're like, you really want me to bring this? Shut up, man.
It's fine, man. If that's what you got and that's what you dig, then that's what. Oh, he reads Wanted. So yeah. Otherwise, I couldn't care. You know, coming up in ASM regular, in the next batch you're about to read, you're going to find an interesting development from what happens in this book. But this book, I don't care. I like what happened in ASM as a result of this book, but I don't care about this book. So whatever. Take that as you will, monsieur.
Sir and sir.
So, that brings us directly to ASM 3, where Peter tries to focus on the company, justly so. He owns the damn thing, even though he didn't build it, because we all know what happened. We don't need to go through that. He builds a detector to find Electro, which I guess is, you know, do you really need a detector to find Electro?
You do when he's out there. I
That
mean,
guy is unfucking subtle.
Yeah, but you really want to try and catch him before he does something horrific. And if you're Peter,
All right, well, that makes sense then. There are times where I don't think that far ahead.
well, it's interesting because you normally
Vis-a-vis
Electro,
my
yes,
love life, but
we're
whatever.
also in so many ways. You have to look at Electro as a character who makes awful choices.
He does.
Like, Max has never, ever seen a solid plan and not been like, I can fuck that up in 5 moves. And then Mysterio's like, I can fuck that up in 4 moves. And Max is always the guy at the top, like, I can fuck it up in 3 moves and get myself arrested. That's what I meant by fuck it up, Max. Shut up, fishbowl.
Oh, fishbowl. Ugh. Oh, God, there's aliens in this movie, too? God. So anyway, what continues to happen in this book? Because nobody knows. Because they didn't. Because nobody reads Spider-Man.
We're the only ones.
So Felicia, i.e. Black Cat, is trying to get revenge on Pete because of what Ock did, of course. This is going to go on for years. The fallout of all the things Ock did, we're going to be here till 2020 with this shit.
Well, I love that the Avengers forgave him 13 seconds.
Yeah, but they had the science to figure it out too.
I just love the fact that they didn't completely fuck Peter.
Yeah,
It's like, no, we believe you. Oh, thank God.
yeah, but
normally
Felicia doesn't have that kind of experience with mind swapping, man.
she does not care. She believes him. She's really well, it probably was Doc Ock because you wouldn't have done it. But I'm still fucked, so I'm still ruining your life.
Pretty much, yeah. She kind of believes him, won't believe him, does believe him, but he puts on this act that does convince her, which did amuse me.
I will murder you. Murder you with my giant octopus legs.
What? So, God, this movie is so bad. I mean, I don't even have to hear any of this dialogue. Just the set dressing is making
Asteroids,
me say,
players stopping, meteorites from hitting the Earth is never going to be a phenomenal film.
Although I do like this old guy. He was in Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
He was in.
He was the coffee shop owner. He was the one that's like, "You're a terrible employee. You're the sucker of the cock."
He was in 40-Year-Old Virgin too.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen that in years.
That is a
I may
great
have to
movie.
break that one out. But since I'm 43, it doesn't count anymore.
43-year-old suck ass.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. Let's finish this bitch off. Nightcrawler 3. They finished the fight at the circus, which I don't care about because it's a fucking circus.
With all his,
old style family friends.
which are all semi-powerful and maybe not mutants or maybe whatever they,
They're freaks in
Dude.
the purest sense.
This is like Marvel 2-in-1. Like, oh, here are my old friends with powers that I grew up with that I've never mentioned before.
Kurt brings Amanda and Margalie. Whoever I don't know who the hell Margalie is. I know who Amanda
His
Sefton
adopted
is.
mother, who's apparently a supervillain, who's taken over
Wonk,
minds.
wonk, wonk. They bring him to the mansion, where, of course, some point, one of them, two of them, all of them turn fucking traitor.
Margalie is an awful, awful person.
Well, adoptive mothers are never really everything they could be.
Oh, dear God.
In comics.
Nice save. Today's horrible blanket statement is actually brought to you by the Tech Jedi for once. And I, the Reverend, am both appalled and relieved that it was not me. No, I'm just sorry. Nightcrawler, Claremont,
This should be a lot more fun.
the Claremont still loves the X-Men, but I think he loves the fact of how good an X-Men writer he was more. It's like, dude, you're not nailing this anymore. This does not feel like a modern X-Men story.
It really does.
The Tri-Robot is the most annoying fucking thing ever. It's like 3D Man villain. No.
3D man.
Yeah, and I have a comic of that thanks to you, so fuck off.
Yeah, well, I knew you'd like it, so whatever. I don't care. This book hasn't grabbed me.
I'm paying for this one, and it's going away. No. NWO, no. Yes, I know I spelled that wrong, but hey, deal with it.
And having established that, I think we can probably call this night even, don't you think?
Oh, was that the last one?
That was the last one?
Free at last.
Booyah!
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
You might.
I might.
You could. You don't know.
Bless you, Falcons!
And away. The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. Find us on Facebook, Stitcher, Twitter under @TheMeanerGeek. Subscribe to us through RSS.
Or we can be located at our own site, www.themeangeek.com. And most importantly of all, you can find us as a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Email us directly at themeanergeek@gmail.com.
Can I drink now?
You may.